Hello, this is Diecast Luna. I hope you're all doing well, and I'm going to be doing a restoration on this little matchbox Europa that I showed a couple of days ago in a previous video. I picked this up for 50p. The car's in generally quite good condition. It's just, unfortunately, someone's decided to paint it with nail varnish or whatever luckily they haven't damaged the windows too much, and the doors open nice, the spring action's good, and the wheels look like they've been painted silver. I'm not quite sure, but I can restore them anyway. So I'm going to give it a strip down, look at what I've got to work with, and go from there. Basically, I have got a spare set. I've got a couple of spare sets of superfast original wheels. These are a little bit on the thin side, so I don't know. We'll see how they look on the car. But this has got, as you can see, it's got slightly wider superfast wheels. But I may do something with these. But the plan is basically just to give it a restoration. So it's just a strip, a clean. Get some of the scratches out the window, get the interior clean, give this a bit of a going over. I'm not going to repair the tow hitch. I think I'm just going to straighten that up a little bit, and then I'm going to give it a coat of blue, only because I don't have this sort of pinky purpley colour, and I'll have a job, I think, getting it in the rattle cans or the aerosol cans that I tend to use. So I'm going to go for the other version. They did it in blue as well as the burgundy colour. So anyway, without further ado, let's get it stripped apart and see what we got to work with. Right, so let's take a look. Right, so didn't drill out too bad, didn't do any damage to that, which is good. Let's see if we can pop these wheels out without destroying the spring, if I can. That's the first one out, and they look pretty good actually. They don't look like they've been painted. I've got a little bit of nail varnish residue which can come straight off, so they can be refurbed, and I think I'll stick these straight back on, as these ones will probably look a bit silly. Yeah, so I'll save them for another project. So that's good. So that's one. Let's see if we can get the wheel off without destroying the spring, if I can. And yes, got that off. So where's it gone? There it is. So they'll be refurbed, no problem, and just give this a little bit of going over with the wire brush, the little wire wool brush on the drill attachment. So that is good. And then let's take a look at the rest of the car. So there's the interior, so that'll clean up all right, and we'll just straighten that up to make it neat. And then the glass should just pop out. So again, just a wash up and get some of the scratches out. And then there's the car, and there's the original colour. So like I said, I'm going to go for a blue. I'm going to give it a blue base coat. Once this is cleaned up, give it a light, give it an undercoat, and give it a light blue base coat, and then give it a thin coat of blue, darker blue, and see if I can get somewhere near the colour that it should be. So that should be pretty cool. So anyway, let's get it in the stripper. Right, so that's the car in the stripper. I've given the base a light going over with the wire attachment on my Dremel. Needs a little bit more yet, and then a little bit of polish putting on it. A little bit of polish put on it. Got a bit of a weird tarnish there that I'll try and get off, but it has, as you can see, it has started to clean up pretty well. So like I said, a bit more of a going over yet, and then that'll be done, and a bit of polish. All the paint flecks are pretty much off it. The interior has come up quite nice. All I used was just bit of soap, water, warm soapy water with a toothbrush. So that's come up pretty nice, and I've sort of filed up the edge of that, so at least when it pokes through it'll be flush. So that's all right. And the glass has been washed in soapy water as well, and it's come up not too bad. So all I've got to do now is give it a coat of polish on that edge and a coat of polish on that edge, just to make it look a bit more. So I've got a slight dark patch there where there was a little bit of paint on it that I took off, but compared to what it was like already, there's a little bits of paint fleck on it still, but like I said, once it's in the car it'll look good, because I'll give it a bit of polish. The wheels, I've washed them, dried them, and gave them a chrome. I'm still not decided whether to use them or not. They don't look too bad, but they have got a little bit of damage on them, but they have been re-chromed. So I'll see tomorrow in the light, because like I said, now it's late over here in the UK, and we'll see. Like I said, I have got options, as I have got another set of wheels that I can use. So like I said, in the morning, when the car comes up the stripper, we'll get a coat of primer on it, and we'll go from there. So anyway, let's fast forward to the morning. Right, well here it is out of the dip and strip, and that was the stripper really struggled to get it all off. That, even though it was nail varnish, whatever they'd stuck on it, it really didn't want to come off. But I've got the majority of it off. I'm going to go over my little wire brush attachment in a minute and get all this. This will come off because it's dead paint now. So I'm going to give it a good going over with the wire brush attachment, get some of the defects out and get some of this extra bits of paint off. And then it's outside. The weather's a bit windy today, but the weather's good, nice and sunny. So I'm going to get a decent coat of undercoat on it, followed by a base coat of blue and then a top coat of blue, and then I'm going to leave it for the day to go off nice and hard, because I'm out all day with the dogs. And then this evening I should see how it is and possibly assemble it. So this is going to be a very quick build. These restorations, when they're in fairly good condition, they're not hard at all. At least, you know, this is a good thing for a beginner, this type of thing, you know. Possibly not with the older castings, because you can damage them quite easy, but something like this is so quick. You know, you drill it out, you clean up the interior, a bit of grind, you know, a bit of paint stripping. It's not a lot of work really, and I don't like detailing these older ones. You know, I like to put these back to original. They do look nice when they're detailed up, but I don't think I'm going to be doing any details on this one, even though there's a lot of nice little details on the casting. I don't know. Let's get some paint and see how it looks, and then possibility. Let's get it cleaned up a bit more. And there it is. Not looking too bad now. Just got to go over it with a bit of Scotch-Brite, just to make it, you know, a bit more even. But it's pretty much all off. For some reason my Dremel decided to pack up, which was quite interesting halfway through, so I had to finish off with this great big cordless drill going sort of like this. And obviously this has got a lot more power than my Dremel, so that and the size of it, so that was interesting, but it's done the job nonetheless. So let's get a coat of primer on, let's get some Scotch-Brite going, and then get a coat of primer on and take another look. And here's the first. It's had a coat of undercoat, so the base coat of light blue. I got a slight imperfection in the paint there and there. I'm not sure if it's There was no paint left on the car, so it might be something to do with the casting itself, might be a reaction in the metal. When the metal gets old, it sometimes does this. So when the paint's gone off a bit harder, I might try and very gently just sand it down again on that area and give it another base coat. I don't know yet, I'll see. But it hasn't turned out too bad. It is dry. I've just got it on these tongs. But like I said, that's not the colour it's going to be. That's just the base coat. So we'll let this go off a bit harder. It's touch dry, but I'll let this go off nice and hard, and then I'll decide what I'm doing with that slight imperfection. But anyway, let's crack on. And if you can see that, there it is. That's the colour that I think I'm going to go with. That imperfection I did sand back a little bit, and it's still there, but this is for my collection, so you know there is imperfections. I mean, end of the day, I've decided I'm going to keep this car standard as much as I can, as that's what I like when it comes to the Matchbox. But it's all right. It's a bit excuse me, a bit darker than I wanted it. It's very hard to spray outside. Like I said, the weather's great, but the wind is up, so you end up layering more on than you want to. I was hoping with the two colours, the lighter blue and the darker blue, that it has light. It is a quite a nice colour. But anyway, with that being said, let's get this dry and I'll see you for the build. So as you see from the previous photograph that was put up just now, that's what the blue one should look like when it's in tip-top condition. And let's take a look at how mine's turned out. And I don't think it's turned out too bad at all. It's pretty much spot on, the colour. I've got a bit of reflection here coming into the window, so it's making it look lighter than it is, but as you can see yourself, it is a really, the colour match, I was quite surprised how well I matched it up. Excuse me. I didn't show the car being assembled or laid out before assembly. I just thought I'd put it straight back together when it was dry enough to put back together. It's had a good 8 hours, 12 hours, I can't remember. So it's had a while to dry now, so it's dry enough to reassemble. But yeah, easy build. You know, like I said, just a case of stripping it down, good paint strip, interior cleaned. I gave the glass a good polish up. I did stick with the wheels in the end. I just gave them a re-chrome. It rolls really nice, which is great. The underneath didn't come up too bad. As you see, the wheels look okay. The doors open nicely. Interior is nice and clean. Just a really simple, clean build. I didn't take off any of the casting imperfections. You can see a slight one there, because like I said, this is a standard car. It's not if I was going to sort of do a resto mod where you sort of clean it up and detail it, which one of these would look nice because there's lots of stuff on here that you could detail, you know, then fine, you'd get rid of the casting imperfections. I am at the moment, I'm in the midst of trying to get myself a printer that can print off, you know, I want to start making the boxes for these. So when I get a car like this and I've restored it, I can print up the box, and obviously then I will use my tap and die set then and actually put a proper headed, not a screw, but like a hex screw that looks a bit like a rivet, so that these cars will look as if they are original. Because funnily enough, this paint is this video isn't doing the paint justice. It's actually turned out very nice, so I'm quite happy with that. But anyway, please like, share, subscribe, stay tuned for more restorations and wheel swaps and all that good stuff and unboxings in the future, and I'll see you all very soon.